Okay, so I love training on this topic. So I don't know if all of you know this, but when I started my Mary Kay business, I on purposely did not start with family and friends, and several reasons. The girl that I signed up under worked with me at Chase Manhattan, and she sold to everybody in our whole entire company, every branch that we had in Georgia. So I had no connections, that I didn't want to steal anybody from her. When I got to church and everybody started finding out that I sold Mary Kay, I found out that there were 5 ladies in my church that sold Mary Kay. And I was like, oh my gosh, who am I going to sell this to? Because I didn't know who were their customers, who wasn't. And I was really going to follow like the Mary Kay way, and wasn't going to really, didn't want to take anybody's customers from them, because I just really respected the whole go give and, and that Mary Kay, everything that Mary Kay was about. And then my family they're all broke. I have this joke that I say that there's old money and new money. I came from no money. And I knew that my family, yeah. And my family wanted everything for free or, at a discount. And so I knew I wasn't going to get rich off my family. And so what I did was I started searching everything I could, reading everything I could in all my Mary Kay literature that I had on how to build your business when you know no one. So I literally pretended like I didn't know anybody. And the ideas that I'm going to give you is how I built my business from the ground up with zero. Okay. And I will tell you, I did have an aunt that held one party for me. It was my first party, and I sold nothing. I booked no one, and I did not get any referrals. So it literally ended there. But it was really just a practice thing, because the next night I had a real party. And I'll tell you how I met this stranger, and she booked a party in just a second. So me knowing that I was going to build from the ground up with strangers, I found that I actually was more comfortable with strangers, because they didn't know that I just started my business last week. Okay. And so Mary Kay always says, fake it till you make it. She never wanted you to fake confidence, but she never wanted you to fake knowledge, but she wanted you to fake confidence. And so I could be very confident around the strangers. And if I didn't know something, I would say, this was my script. You know what? I'm in my first year of Mary Kay still, and I don't know, but if you'll give me just a few minutes, I can find out for you. And I always had my consultant guide with me, because we didn't have phones and we didn't have the internet. I mean, we didn't run around with our laptops or our phones. And so I would have to look it up or call my director. And so even when I would say I'm in my first year, I was literally in my first week. But I wasn't lying. I was in my first year. And so people were very respectful, and they would always say, wow, you did such a great job. I can't believe you're new, and stuff like that. So that would always make me feel good. So here is how I got started. So I will tell you, it was a gut punch walking into my church in the nursery, dropping off my kids that first Sunday after I had signed my agreement, in my mind thinking I'll start at church, and finding out that there were 5 ladies. And I'm thinking the whole day, I'm just like devastated, going, oh my goodness, who am I going to sell this to? But this is my testimony of how God just honored and made himself real to me, and said, to me, like, Michelle, it's okay. I put you here. I knew that you're going to be fine. So that Sunday night, we had to stop at Walmart to get some diapers, because I had a 6-month-old baby, and and a 2.5-year-old. So I stayed in the car with the boys, and I was looking up and I was praying, God, because it had bothered me all day. I'm just going to be real. It had really bothered me all day. And I said, God, please show me where I'm supposed to build this business. No lie, boom, in my mind, God gives me the vision at the daycare, there was a consignment sale flyers that were on there. I had picked one up that Friday, and it was a local consignment sale, and they would have them every spring and every fall, and all the moms would consign their children's clothes. You guys probably experienced those. And I thought, and it said 2,000 consigners. And I thought, well, gosh, if there's 2,000 consigners, there's going to be even more shoppers. So I got that flyer. I prayed. I remembered that. I ran into the daycare that next morning, grabbed that flyer to get that number. And at 9 o'clock, I closed my office door and I called her, and I was shaking so bad. And I'll never forget, it was Vicki Powell with Consigning Closets. And I said, Vicki, this is Michelle Byers, and I got your flyer about the consignment sale. I said, I just started my Mary Kay business, and I was wondering, would you allow me to be a vendor at your event? And I said, I am not going to sell anything, so I'm not interfering. I just want to do a little giveaway table with door prizes and have them register for, a giveaway and giveaway samples. And I said, I am willing to pay a vendor fee. And she said, I think that is a fantastic idea. And so that is literally how I started my business. Now, I will tell you, I was so shy that first spring sale, all those women went past me, and only 9 people stopped. I got 9 names, but I booked all 9 of those people, and my first party came from that sale. In fact, the lady comes running up to my table, and she said, is this a Mary Kay booth? And I said, yes, it is. And she said, I'm going to have a Mary Kay party. I said, oh, good. Who's your consultant? She goes, no, I'm going to have a Mary Kay party. I just didn't have a consultant yet. She goes, I already know what day. And I was like taken back. And I said, so you want me to do your party? And she's like, yeah. I said, oh my goodness, you're an angel. She goes, oh, that's my name, Angel. Praise God. I mean, is he not good or what? And it just so happened her daughter was in the same daycare as Riley, and he had bit her the week before. I didn't know. They were 6 months old. I mean, they're crawling around. And I'm like, are you kidding? And so we started to see each other, and she held her party. There were 4 people there. I sold $400, and she was my very first team member. And so I started doing those consignment sales every fall and every spring, okay? And it got better and better. Well, then I branched out, and I thought, okay, if Sharpsburg is having these kind of sales, then there's got to be other towns. And so Google had just, everybody was Googling, it was new. And I Googled children's consignment sales, and I looked at the map, and I looked at all these little towns. And I started writing down and Googling, and I started emailing. And I literally started doing booths in every town you can imagine, if they were having a consignment sale and if they allowed vendors. So that made me branch out to other things like bridal booths, baby expos. I did chili cook-offs at town squares. I've done a car show, craft fairs, everything, anywhere there were people, and they allowed me to have a table there, based on, the dollar amount was right. I became really, really good at looking at, okay, how many attendees do you have? How much are you charging? And I was able to estimate pretty accurately how many names I was going to get. And so that's how I started. Now, I also, in the beginning, to build local during the times where I didn't have a consignment sale. The consignment sale, if I got a lot of good names, it would literally take me, I would stay busy, until the next one. And so, but I still did some facial boxes. And so I'm going to send you guys a picture tonight on Voxer of how to create a very inexpensive facial box. It is $3, okay, and you can make it. You go to Hobby Lobby, you get these little boxes. They lay flat on the shelf, but when you pop them up, super cute. You print out your little sign, you tie a pin to the handle, you make some ribbon, and then you hole punch the little registration cards. And I'm going to send you guys the registration cards too. And you want to just always keep those, because you can have those at your vendor table also. And you just kind of feed them through with a ribbon, so that all they have to do is tear them off and then drop them in the box. And I would put those in, these are the hot spots, okay? I'm going to tell you the hot spots. I'm going to tell you what's not a hot spot, all right? Nail salons are hot spots. They are pretty busy year round. Tanning salons are seasonal hot spots. They're busy from January to June, okay? The clientele that you get there are usually college, young college girls, millennials, okay? Hair salons, if you can get it to where it sits in the lobby of a hair salon, if you still have those kind of salons, like my salon, everybody has their own private station. That is not a hot spot if they have their own private station, because they are limited. They have, those are really, those are hairdressers who just have their set clientele, and they've got the same people coming in. Those usually do not produce a lot of names. But if it's still a salon where everybody just has a booth and it's all open, to have it in the lobby of that salon where there's, 5 to 10 stylists there, you've got a pretty heavy traffic flow. And so that could make that kind of situation a hot spot for a facial box. Now, you always want to have 5 to 10 facial boxes out, because you're going to have some that produce and some that get thrown away. And then unfortunately, you're going to have some direct sales, other direct sales reps that steal your names. Yes, that's happened to me more than once, unfortunately. So you want to go, and so what I always do, and I wish I had my registration cards, they're like this big. I go in and I put like my husband's name or my kid's name and the phone number. And so, and I teach my consultants that, and believe it or not, one of my consultants actually got a call from the girl that stole her names before. Really. And so, but you can do that just to figure out who's stealing them. But that's why you want to have 5 to 10 out, because some are going to get thrown away. And that's why you don't want the expensive ones. When you're building that, you just want that $3 investment of these facial boxes and have 5 to 10 out. And you want to be able to check them every week, or every week, or maybe every 2 weeks. There is another, if you're kind of tech savvy, there is you can do like the facial frames, and you can just say, put the frame out and say, text to earn a free facial and a gift certificate and a makeover, and whatever. And the tech savvy, people will text you, and then you don't have to worry about a box and registration cards. So you can kind of get a feel for what you're gonna, what you want to do. So you can just get a $1 frame and make a cute little flyer to go in there, and just put your phone number, text this number for a chance to earn up to $100 in giveaways, or and a free makeover and a free facial, or whatever. You can come up with something cute. I can give you the right verbiage later. But that is, and put them everywhere, and then expand out. So just like I Googled small towns that I wanted to do consignment sales, think about towns like Miss Debbie is really good at, her husband on Saturdays before COVID and before he got sick, they would go to these little small towns, and she would find these small town boutiques. And she had a really great run going right before COVID, with some really great customers and new recruits from her facial boxes that she had in these small towns at these little clothing boutiques. And so that is, that's how I built my business. So here's some other things that I have done, and I'm going to show you. So every year for our cheerleaders at our school, I do a cheer fundraiser, and I had our graphic designer pick or create. It looks like a Girl Scout cookie sheet, where they would have the cookies up here, but this is all of our lip glosses. And down here, you would put your, whoever's purchasing which lip gloss, and she would total it out. And so I also I don't limit the cheerleaders to just selling lip gloss, and it's called Kiss for a Cause. I put a catalog inside this envelope, and they can keep all the money in there too. And then I shrunk our sales tickets down. So when our sales tickets were a little bit smaller, I shrunk them down 4 to a page. So I didn't give away all my sales tickets because, they can get expensive. And I made a whole bunch of copies so that they could just, if somebody wanted something other than lip glosses, they could write it out. And I put a catalog in there. And so every year, the cheerleaders sell over $2,000 in fundraisers. Now, I give them a large amount back because I'm a sales director, and I get paid on my own orders. But even if you don't give them, what I give, you're still getting the contacts, because they fill out their information, and then when they deliver the lip glosses, I always put a little thing that says, you've earned a gift certificate toward a pampering session. Okay, so it's a booking, and I have their number, and I can follow up. It's just like a lead. It's just like me doing a booth for a weekend. I get, you've got 12 girls on a squad. If, 8 of them participate and they get, 20 orders, that's a lot. That's 160 leads. So that's, you've got to always think outside the box, of not just about that sale, but what is that sale going to lead me to? What can that customer do for me? You can also this is similar to the Silent Hostess. Okay. So the Silent Hostess, especially around Christmas time, think about if you know some single moms that work in an office, when moms that are kind of really tight on on their budget, and Christmas is coming or whatever. Even now, school supplies. But if someone works in an office and you did the Silent Hostess, and you say, you can even just do the book and have like a little registration thing, but you could do a mascara and a eye makeup remover. Okay, so think about that. That's like a $30 plus deal. If your Silent Hostess goes and gets 30 people in her office to order a mascara and an eye makeup remover, who doesn't need that? Okay, everybody needs that. 30 times 30, that's $900. And you tell her you get 30 people to order mascara and eye makeup remover, you're going to make $450 as the consultant, but give her $150 as a thank you. Who wouldn't like $150 just for passing a packet around? And that's a great way to, and then if she does such a good job, you'd say, look, you just made me $450 profit. Why don't you do this? And now you've got your new team member. And if not, you got 30 leads to book from. Okay, 30 leads. Because when we have a lead, Mary Kay consultants know how to work that lead. We do. We don't let it die. We don't let it go cold. And we know how to work the numbers. There's percentages, and I want you guys to know the percentages when you are booking from the referral sheet that I teach you at your parties. And Mo, when we do your party live, you'll see the referral sheets. So these referral sheets, do I have any in here? Those are really kind of complete cold calls. We text, and we have that little script. There you go. Tanya's holding it up, Mo. That's what the fabulous sheet looks like. And so when we book from those, it's a text, and we put our business card attached to it. our virtual business card. We never send a text to a stranger without our virtual business card attached, because that way they know we're a real person. And we say, hey, hey, Erica, Tanya Hearn said you are one of her dearest friends that's overworked and underappreciated. She has gifted you a gift certificate and a pampering session. When is a good time for me to give you a call so we can chat more about your gift? Okay. And then, so here's the deal. 1 out of 20 will book with you on the first point of contact. 1 out of 20. Okay. But here's the deal. This is a marketing strategist marketing strategists have all said that you will get 80% of your bookings from the 5th and 6th point of contact. Okay. So when all those 1 out of 20, they don't respond, you text them again the next week, and this is your second point of contact. And you would say something like this. Hey, Erica, wasn't sure if you got my last text, but you were gifted a special pampering session, a gift certificate from Tanya. Let me know if you got the message and when is a good time for me to call. Second point of contact. And then the third point of contact would be something like this. Hey, still didn't hear from you. I'm going to hold your gift certificate till I hear from you, and I'll text back next week. That's your third point. Finally, you're saying, hey, be a woman of excellence and just tell me you're not interested, right? So if they're not interested, you mark them off. But if they don't respond, you just keep on. They don't know you from Adam. But that's why the person who is persistent gets 80% of the bookings, okay? And so I will give you guys those scripts so that you can create those scripts. So that is from the referrals. So what about the registration cards? So I usually, from like the vendor booths that I do, I usually book, I would say 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5 I book because I've met them face to face. They came to my table. When you get a referral from, so what is that? And then a cold call, really there's no other way that we're getting referrals anymore. Oh, your facial boxes is really probably going to be like 1 out of 5 also, because they filled it out. So they were showing some interest. So going and getting it done and knowing your odds and working your odds, I think you're going to be more comfortable. So if you've used the referral sheet, go back and see how many you text and how many bookings, so that you don't get disappointed. You're like, oh, I haven't got to 20 yet, and you're going to know I got to keep going. Or when you're calling those leads from your vendor booth or your facial boxes, those are the ones I call because I want to hear their voice, especially from a facial box. And let's talk about safety for a second. Let me make sure I haven't. Oh, so I did want to say what you're doing with all these different ideas. Of course, if you've got family and friends, you are working from a hot list, okay? And those referrals that we're talking about are coming from your family and friends that you've booked, and you played the referral game, and that takes you, and that's a sweet way to build, okay? But when you want to build faster, like I know Tanya wants to build faster because she wants to be a sales director. She wants to be a sales director in the next 6 months before her first year comes, and she can because of the activity that she's doing. So she needs more contacts. And so doing facial boxes is a great way to add to the referrals that she has from her hot list, okay? Now, so building to 100 customers as fast as you can, and through hot lists, through facial boxes, vendor booths, silent hostesses, just really fighting for that 100. So when you get to 100, I want you to know this. The average woman knows 500 people, okay? 500 people. She actually knows 5 different groups. So when you book her for a party, she's either going to invite her neighborhood friends, her church friends, her family, sisters, mom, aunts, okay? Or her high school friends, and then she's got her coworkers. And then there's some of us that have our children's mom's friends from all the sports. So the average woman knows 500 people, but they're in 5 to 6 different groups. And so what you could create is a perpetual hostess program. And you say, look, I know that you know a lot of people. I want to get your Mary Kay to you free as much as possible. Can you commit to 2 parties, spring and fall, or winter and summer? And right when you're running out of your stuff, we're going to get it free. Got it? And so create that perpetual hostess program to where you've got 20 really great hostesses that are going to commit to 2 parties. That's 40 parties just from those 20 ladies. So how many weeks are in a year? There's 52. That's 1 party a week. All right, so then you keep going because you've got other avenues. You've got your facial boxes. You're going to keep building. And then, boom, that's how I did it. That is how I did it. Okay, and it's just knowing your numbers. And so you're not getting disappointed if 19 out of your 20 texts that you sent, because you got all these other irons in the fire. And I've always said this, if you've got 3 irons in the fire at all times, working from a lot of referrals from the parties that you booked, or facial boxes out, or vendor booths, or those are 3, or you got your silent hostess, or you got your cheer and dance team fundraisers. Okay, that's how I did it. That's the circle that I did every year, and I kept business going. And I've never not had business 19 and a half years, and I've never ever not paid myself. And since my first year and a half, since 2006, I have never paid myself less than $5,000 a month. Never, since 2006, February 2006. So that's how many years? 14 and a half years. I have brought home to my family $5,000 a month, because that's what was required. And it was from this right here. And so I don't teach theory. I did it. And so that is when I tell you this is how I did it, you can take it to the bank, because it can be done, because this is how I did it. So when we get off the Zoom tonight, I'm going to fax you. I'm going to, not fax. Where did that come from? I don't even have a fax. I'm going to box you. She's like,
oh, it's not. Same thing.
Whatever. I'm going to get on my typewriter and I'm going to type you.
Okay, Miss Dinosaur.
No, that's where I was going with this. I'm going to box you guys the pictures of how to make the facial boxes. I'm going to send you pictures of my vendor booths, okay? And I just showed you what my silent hostess looks like, and I'll send you we actually have one made up for the mascara and the eye makeup remover. So that's a really great one. And that way you can have some ideas. I'm going to just tell you, it's so funny, right before I came on, I do a Christmas bazaar with the teachers sorority in Coweta County every year at the Coweta Fairground, and it's huge. But the girl just texted me, and I can show you. She said, hey Michelle, I'm taking over the Christmas event for ADK. We're not sure if we're going to have it. We're meeting next week. And then she goes, but I just wanted to touch base and let you know I was the new contact. And I said, thank you. We really look forward to that booth every year. We pray that we can still do it. But if not, I'm saving your number for next year. And I said, keep me posted. So that is a consistent booth that I do now with the teachers sorority of Coweta County. So that's something you can look into, thinking outside the box. I stumbled upon this a couple of years ago. I can't even say that I went searching for it. I didn't know it existed. But when you look through your paper, I know people don't get papers anymore, but you can Google events in your town. There used to be a really great, it was a little Christmas bazaar in LaGrange, and that generated a ton of new customers for me, but they stopped doing it. So Christmas bazaars, now I know we're in the middle of a pandemic. We might not be able to do a lot of booths because of it, but you can still reach out to them and see and let them have your name. But here's what I always ask them. I need to make sure that I'm the only Mary Kay rep, because we have a a commitment to each other that we will not step on each other's toes. And a Mary Kay consultant knows how to work a lead. So if there's 2 of us there, we're going to be calling the same people. We call our leads. And so I need to make sure I'm the only one. And I'm going to just tell you, I've actually requested my money back before when I found out there was another consultant there. And I made them tell me what day she signed up, what day I signed up. And they had misled me. And I said, you're going to give me my money back. And so I do not go there if there's another consultant there. Second, the way that I figure out, as I always ask them, can you tell me how many attendees that you have? And then how much is the cost of the booth? Now I'm going to give you my formula, because I used to do a really big one at Cobb Galleria. It was the Baby Expo. And they would literally give us the manifest of the year before. And they would have 20,000 attendees. Now, 20,000 attendees generated 800 names that came to my table, 800 names. But that booth cost me $800. But I split it with 8 people. There were 8 of us, and we each got 100 names. So if somebody tells you, because some of these big expos and big bridal expos, they're going to cost you $500 to $600. And they say, oh, we're going to have 2,000 attendees. You will never make your money back, okay? It's the big ones that you have to watch. Now, these small town ones, like the Christmas one, it's $100, I think, or 75. Anything under 100, I do it no matter what the attendees are, because I know I can make it. I can make $100 back, right? But if I've got 8 people coming and they paid $100, they better get 100 names. And so that's the formula that I go by. So I just want you guys to know that. All right. Any questions before I stop recording? Okay.